Hello and welcome back to another episode of United We Stand, Divided We Podcast. I am Robert from the US with my co-host Lionel from Canada, Toronto to be
Yeah,
exact.
Toronto, not Toronto. How you guys all doing out there? Hopefully everything's going fine for everybody. It's a nice hot summer everywhere, but we're getting a little bit cooler up here finally. And when I say cooler, it's still hot, but it's summer hot, not please leave me in the beach hot. So, how's it over there?
Today was not as bad as it has been. Probably high,
Yeah.
it was high 80s. But it's been mid high 90s with high humidity up until today, but it was cloudy today. So fortunately, it was not quite as bad.
Yeah.
But
Well, we got lucky. We actually had a cool night last night. After 2 days of it being actually a couple of degrees below normal, but 90% humidity and no wind. It was horrid. It felt like 40, well, I say 40 degrees, but for the Americans, it basically felt like 106 or whatever. And you know what that feels like. You've gone through it once or twice this year already, maybe
yeah.
several times. uh, but anyways, let's move on. We're going to talk a lot of tech today, apparently, from what I understand.
Yeah, there's been a lot of developments. So
Yeah, and it's not
the
all Google stuff this time.
no, it's not all
Some of
Google
it
stuff.
is.
A good
Yeah,
chunk of it is
yeah.
because they're coming out with their surprise 13th event. It's not on a Friday, is it?
I think it's a Wednesday, to be honest with you.
Okay, because I was like, is that maybe maybe some kind of April Fools in August or September, whatever.
I actually really hate that I might be working that day and I'm going to have to actually look at the stuff periodically throughout the day and read it all about it and watch the thing later. And I haven't missed a Google event in 7 years, I think. I mean, I've had jobs where I would actually have my phone propped up on top of something, like if I was driving a reach truck, a forklift. I would actually have it propped up. So every time I looked at something, I could stop for a second and look at it. But I had the headphones in so I could listen, or one of them in, that is, for
Yeah,
safety. I have to have one open and and,
yeah,
and watch, or I'd listen rather, to everything that was going on. Other
yeah. It's
times
actually
I would be in
Tuesday.
my office and I would be able to just watch it. So,
Yeah, it's Tuesday.
oh,
Is
Tuesday. Sorry,
yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah, so I'll hopefully be able to watch it from the office if I'm not too busy. But yeah, so obviously, the whole Pixel 9 rumors have been out forever. Pixel 9 XL, I guess we
Yeah.
still don't know all the details on that.
Well,
Um,
apparently we know most of them, but I
yeah.
would love to go back to a surprise, back the days when you get surprised. But at the same time, I'm still excited about it because it may not be the Pixel 10 with the fully 100% Google chip,
Yeah.
but it's still going to have some improvements. It's still going to be the one that's just one step closer to that one. I don't think they're all as incremental as people try to tell you on the internet, is because there's usually a little bit more than a few things in there that just make it a little better than last year. Like the 8 was supposedly a tiny jump over the 7, but I find that it was actually a huge leap in how the camera worked. And I'm not even talking about the pictures. I I,
Yeah.
I love the way the pictures turn out, but video wise, it's just, to me, is a better camera, especially if you're using a third party camera app like Blackmagic Camera.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. I'm anxious to see what all they're coming out with for sure. But
Yeah.
the first thing I wanted to mention is kind of a public service announcement, so to speak. I was reading that Samsung, starting
Public
with
service
UI,
announcement. Like and subscribe, order some merch.
yes, that's a good public service announcement. But Samsung, starting with UI 6.1.1, their incremental update, are implementing maximum restriction in Android on their Samsung devices, meaning there's no more sideloading apps to your phone. If it's not in the Google Play Store and if it's not in the Samsung store, you cannot install it. And Google
That
is
doesn't
going to be
sound right.
following suit very promptly thereafter, I would imagine,
You
because
know, see, now I heard that Google was doing it a little bit different. I mean, that may be true, and I hope it's not. But what I heard was that Google was going to make the app bundles fully mandatory. So, you know how Google is, they'll give you like 8 months a year or whatever. And then basically, eventually, every operating system beyond a certain point will have to use app bundles. Any new apps going into the Play Store from a certain date would have to be app bundles. No more. Most of them are now. Even if you go to APK Mirror, most of them are app bundles. That's the scuttlebutt I have gotten so far from it. Um, but I did catch wind of the Samsung thing. So these guys are really they're holding hands a lot together lately. So I'm thinking if one's doing it, the other one's following. So I think you might be right. It's unfortunate.
well, they just went through a mass app deletion in the Play Store because there was such a
Yeah.
rash of people complaining about malware apps,
Well,
which
that's because they're there.
it's always been, well, yeah, because Google doesn't have the stringent you know vetting of apps like Apple does. And
Right.
as much as we complain about Apple's you know ecosystem and their walled garden, there's
Yeah.
obviously some benefits to that, but
Well, yeah, it's safer. There's
tweaking
no doubt
your
about it.
device is different than side loading an app. So you could
Yeah.
have one and not the other, which is what I think obviously is Android's headed that way. I think honestly, myself personally, I think it's a good idea. I don't know why you would necessarily need to sideload.
There,
I have not
listen, there.
sideloaded an app. Wait a minute. I have not sideloaded an app on a phone in probably 10 years. I have
I
not
can,
needed to.
you know what? I can probably look at my phone right now and actually find you at least one, if not two or three apps that I've sideloaded because they're not available on the Play Store and from reputable companies. Um, Well, maybe not. I may have actually gotten rid of them because I wasn't using them. So that's a bad example. But I know I have in the past. And I was looking at something the other day and I couldn't use it because it was a paid subscription model. The app itself didn't cost money, but it was attached to another subscription service that I would have liked to have tried, but is a bit beyond me. Reputable company, very, very good product, excellent service, everything, but they didn't want to be paying Google. So they just said, you're going to have to get your app from us. If Google blocks this, it forces them to have to go in there. But at some point, you're going to start seeing these weird negotiations where, um, company A that is, got way more money is not going to have, get charged as much as company B, right? But then again, some companies don't charge for the app. I think where most companies complain isn't the amount of money that Google wants for the charging of the app, but when the subscription models come into play and they're like, well, this is how much money you have to give us. But here's the thing. Google does not disallow you, like Apple, from, at least I don't think they do unless they change that, from actually charging separately from the app. In other words, you get the app for $5 or free or whatever, and then you sign up for the service and you pay separately, not
Yeah.
technically through the app.
Yeah, I don't know if they do that or not, but
Yeah.
I, you know, I I understand that aspect of it, but here's my point about these reputable companies, and they might have their own app. They want you to sideload it.
Yeah.
Basically, that tells me that they're maybe not up to par on their security as well. So what's to stop Mr. Bad Actor over here taking reputable company's app, injecting their own, infusion of malware and
Right.
redistributing that and people downloading that? I mean, that happens. So I understand what their reasoning is behind it. And part of the problem is, which can be a little scary, is that some of these malware apps are coming out. They're stealing two-factor codes.
That's not
That's
good. That's not,
no, it's not
yeah.
good. I
Yeah,
mean, so
that's not
now
good.
you're completely, you know, nullifying the whole two-level security when it comes to text messages. Now, personally, I use an app.
Yeah.
I don't use, text unless I have to, but
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a way to steal that too. I don't know, but I don't ever worry about it because I don't install anything outside of the Play Store. If it's not on the Play Store, then I don't need it because it's not
Well, you
something I
see,
need to use.
the thing is if passkeys are available, I'm all on board. Where they're not available,
Well,
some sites are now trying to do a thing that sort of looks like it's a passkey, but it's really not. You
yeah,
just have to authenticate with your phone, which is similar, but it's not actually a passkey. You still have to have the proper password and everything. But one of the things that I like about the way Google has changed their thing is without actually using passkeys. I think this is because they're able to do this because they fully implemented the passkey thing on their end. Is if you sign up for something and you go, okay, I got to do a password, it gives you a suggestion of some random password that there's no way in hell you're ever going to remember, but you don't have to.
hmm
And you say, yeah, use it. And then it's remembered it. But you still need to use your fingerprint to authenticate it. So
right.
to me, that is a little bit more secure, but it's not secure in the sense of um, actually having, what did you call it again? When you got the USB and you plug it in.
Oh yeah,
What's the matter with me?
the hardware
Yeah.
key,
Yeah, exactly. That would
the
be the
Titan.
absolute
Yeah.
best thing to have under any circumstances. And the thing is and that's, if I'm not mistaken, you can do it with a phone, laptop, computer, or whatever you want. Is that right?
Yeah.
Or is that,
So
yeah,
no, yeah. So I was looking for my keys, but they're downstairs. It's USB-C. So
right.
any phone, computer that's manufactured in the last 5 years, you're going to be able to use, and you plug it in, it turns it on, and you fingerprint, on top of it, and it authenticates you.
That is pretty cool. Yeah.
And it's
That's
fast.
yeah, and that's something I think that should be seriously considered for a lot of things. Well, I got the fingerprint on the phone, but what if you were using this so that anything that you wanted to do beyond opening your phone could still be done? Like if you have a business account on your phone and a personal account. Your personal account, you're like thinking, well, I don't really care. I got my fingerprint, it's fine. But I got sensitive documents on my phone. If this gets out, I'm fired. Maybe there's legal trouble or something, right? So being able to actually lock it all with that key goes past, oh, somebody managed to get into your phone with your face or your thumb, but they don't have the key.
Yeah.
It's safe.
I don't know how that works between. Have you ever seen an Android phone that's got two different separate profiles?
Yeah, you can do that on. You can't
No,
do
no,
that
no.
on a Samsung.
Yeah, I'm saying, have you seen one how it's got a work profile from a Google
Oh,
Workspace and a Gmail profile that's personal on the same device? Have you seen
well, it
how
doesn't necessarily have to be it doesn't necessarily have to be uh, what's the matter with me? You just said it.
Workspace?
Workspace. I
So
mean,
for a work account, yes, it does.
well, not if they don't use those documents. They could just be using Microsoft stuff or something that has nothing to do with Office stuff at all. There are tons of different applications that are being used that have nothing to do with Google or
Well, no, but when
Microsoft
you said a work
whatsoever.
account, I assume you meant workspace account
Not necessarily.
because
Not
it actually
necessarily.
partitions your phone.
I know, absolutely. But it
So
doesn't necessarily mean you have to use the second one as a workspace account. You can have two fully working accounts that are not workspace accounts.
I know that. I have
Yeah.
four on my
And
phone.
again, if the company isn't using that, they don't need it to be Google Workspace. They just need it to be a separate account, and they just happen to title it as something to do with their job, work,
Right. But the
bills,
problem
work.
is you can't
You know.
control security on that as a business. So that's part of the issue. So
Oh,
it,
okay.
it
Well, that's I have no idea why battery saver's on. My laptop was supposed to be plugged in, and apparently it's not. Excuse me.
Yeah, yeah, because if it's not a workspace account where it actually creates that working profile that has separate work apps and then you have separate personal apps, then the company can't control the security permissions on the company resources, documents, email, whatever the case may be. If they
Talk amongst
do,
yourselves.
I can actually, with a workspace account, let's say you lose your phone, I can actually wipe the company side of the phone because it's a complete separate partition.
Excellent.
So it has a lot of benefits, but a lot of people don't want to do that because they're like, I even have people now, and it's, to me, it's silly. I don't want to use my phone for text messages for work. I'm like, okay, well, do you use it for your bank? Well, yeah, but that's my bank. I'm like, okay, well, this is your email for your company. The company can't access your phone. You're just using a text message. I don't understand people's, issue with that, honestly. But
That's not the right charger. I just plugged in the wrong charger. Okay. I don't
oh,
know how this happened.
is it charging?
No, it's not charging because the charger is not there.
Oh, well,
And
Lionel moved his little space around this weekend and did some cleaning and some rearranging and some remodeling. So there's no telling where cables and plugs are right now.
that's not it either.
They're probably strung, um, who knows, behind the desk, behind the dresser, from the TV.
Don't know where that one came from.
Who knows?
Well, let's hope it's this one here that I just found on the floor under my feet. And we're you know what? Enjoy. We have a winner.
Okay, there we go.
Let me just double check and make sure. My mouse doesn't work either there. There we go.
Okay, so at any rate, I just wanted to bring that up about the side loading. I know a lot of people, especially in the Android space, that are tech guys. They love to play with different apps and all, but there is reason for it. And I personally, as an Android user and as a technology professional, think it's a great idea because sometimes people need protection from themselves.
Yeah. And sometimes people need protection from being dumb enough to not plug in their laptop while they're actually doing a podcast.
Yeah. So, and I think too, maybe that's going to help. We talked about in one of the previous podcasts about those, free USB connections in the airports and stuff that you charge your phone with, how you can actually be plugging into a data hack.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe it'll help prevent some of that. I don't know, but I think it's a good move. So at any rate.
Well, I kind of agree with you, to be honest with you. I think more and more I find less. It's kind of like back in the day. We used to all mess with our phones, put on, all the different routing and roaming and everything. And it's still a thing. People still do that, and they still will be able to because it's Android. But I think to me it's just less important. I like it when my TV doesn't go out too. All right. You know what I'll do? I'll just unplug the thing entire. This is great. What? I just plugged it back in. It should have worked. Now mine gone off. There you go. All right. You know what? Let's talk about technology and how garbagey it is when it should be working. I have no idea what just happened there. But let's move on to another subject, and maybe that'll become the next short, and people will laugh at me some more. I'll have some water.
Next time you decide to rearrange your little podcast space there, I think we'll do some testing before.
Well, when you're working 9 hours a day, it's kind of hard.
I got it.
I gave it a go, and I was going to do it the day I was doing it. It actually took me 2 days to get everything done.
That's okay. It looks good. And when,
yeah.
with all these little bugs,
It'll look better when I'm
you know.
sitting a little higher here. I feel like I'm sitting in a kitty chair here right now.
So, the next thing I wanted to bring up is, of course, I think this goes along with the whole, August 13th thing coming up. They
Yeah.
recently have publicly announced that here's what they're releasing for. They're releasing a new Google Nest smart learning thermostat.
Yeah.
And a new streamer, which we'll talk about the streamer in a minute.
Yeah.
But here's my take on the thermostat. It's really awesome looking. I think
I think
great.
It looks pretty cool. I think it looks cool. But
it's twice as big as the existing, so that's nice to have the extra real estate.
yeah. For some people.
It's kind of like on the phone. It has some compilations you can do where you can add different things to show up on that. You know how that
Right.
Far Sight thing does when you walk by it, it lights up and everything.
Oh yeah, that's basically what they started doing with the Pixel 4, and people hated it, and then they put it in the Nest.
Yeah, and it does have some. It comes with Soli, so it has radar.
Radar, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's more, accurate as far as detecting movement, things like that, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
I have two Nest thermostats because my house is a split unit, and I'm not going to spend almost $300 replacing it just so I can get some Gemini and Soli.
No,
honestly,
of course not. Yeah, no.
These are from 2020, I think is when these came out, or 2018, something like that. I don't know. I don't know. This is the thing about technology. And I'm an early adopter. I have always been early adopter as much as I can. But I guess the longer I deal with it, I guess the older I become wiser. I just would have a hard time spending $300 almost for a replacement when all it's going to basically give me, as far as how I use it, a bigger screen. Now, some of the Gemini AI stuff that's in it actually will help learn your, thermostat routines, and it'll automatically help program. But I don't even use that anyways because my wife likes to adjust it herself. She'll pull her phone out, she'll make whatever adjustments, and sometimes I'll wake up and it's 65 degrees.
You can still do that and can still learn, and then you mess with it anyways. And it starts to figure out two things: one, the part where you don't want it to do it, and the other part where you do. But I should say two things. One, it's totally understandable why you don't want to spend the money, especially when you have one that works perfectly fine. You don't need necessarily the bigger screen, whatever. But you would, it's good enough you would recommend it to someone who was just getting their first learning thermostat, or I mean smart thermostat.
Oh, I mean, without using it, I can't say like, but I've used
based
it. Based
on your experience with a Nest thermostat.
100%.
Now, the other thing I want to say is, in all honesty, and this kind of solidifies kind of what you're saying. I understand it about the why spend the money, so on. If you already have, if I had bought the original Nest thermostat, the original one from however many years ago that is, which in my opinion was a really awesome looking thermostat in the first place, I probably would not have even changed it yet.
Right.
And that goes way back before 2020. And I probably still wouldn't, because again, if it was turning the heat on when I needed it, turning the air conditioning on when I needed, turning either of those off when I didn't need them, I wouldn't need anything else.
Right.
It would still do what I want to do. I'd still be able to operate it from my phone from outside the house. Everything's fine. So why bother? But again, if you're just getting one, like I don't have one, but again, because I live in a house, it's not my house. I'd be happy to actually gift it to him, so that he would have that, and even I'd be able to control it. If he's away and I have to work, I could say, okay, I'll make sure the air conditioner comes on later in the day, not while no one's home, whatever. But the problem is he has a true variable speed. I was gonna say transmission. a true variable speed fan on his furnace, which means there's no stepping. It's just literally variable speed. So think of it like a CVT of fans.
Right.
So the problem is that no, and I mean absolutely none whatsoever, smart thermostat has ever been made to work with a true variable speed. They've only been made to work with single speed, dual speed, and tri-speed, I think, if I'm not mistaken. A couple of them do. They do
Yeah.
not work with variable speed. And it's mind-boggling that they won't put that tiny little feature in. It would cost them an extra 15 cents to make it.
Yeah,
It
I don't
doesn't
know. I
make
mean, I'm
sense.
sure it has something to do with resistance and how it's going to
Well,
have
of
to
course
like
it does, but it's not
not
difficult.
step the resistance. It's have to actually
Well, yeah, but step
smoothly move
resistance
it
is
somehow.
literally just putting a specific type of resistor and then just the switch to go to the resistor, and that's it. With
Yeah,
true variable, you actually have to have an actuator, and so it's more than just a switch.
right.
But it doesn't cost much more money. I mean, it's a few cents. It's pennies to a manufacturer. So it's not an issue with that. It's not really even more complicated because they make them not smart. Like thermostat, the same makers that make smart thermostats, like Honeywell makes a
Yeah,
few that work, but they're not smart thermostats. And it's
yeah,
just mind-boggling that they force you to have to get up and do it manually and not be able to change it from outside the house. If they put smarts in that thing at all, no, whatsoever,
yeah.
no.
I don't. I've never had a true variable. I mean, it's always been a
Yeah.
low, medium, high. Is that a pretty common Canadian thing, or is it?
No, it's the actual furnace itself definitely costs more money. Because they're talking about the technology within it. The fan has to be able to do it. The electrical has to be able to handle it. Because you're talking about a
Right,
completely different load changing,
right,
varying up and down on this huge difference in curve, right? So
right.
if you know anything about how all that works, if you're talking about the people listening, I know you understand it. Um, that makes a big difference in entire across the whole thing with the frequency and how it works. But the problem is that no one will make the thermostat that talks to it. It needs a different wire. That's it. It's one other wire that they don't put on it. And it would
Yeah,
otherwise work because it would just tell it we need it to be this. And the thing about the true variable speed is, and you know, because you said you've had like two speed or tri speed, right?
yes.
If it's say 85 degrees outside and your house has reached 85 and you want your house to be what, I don't know, 68, 71. I can't think. What kind of temperature do you like in your house?
Oh, personally, it's 68. Sometimes even
68.
cooler
Okay.
at night. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, no, you're just talking about daytime, right? So
yeah,
let's say you're
68.
in and out of the house. You're going to be gone to the store for half an hour.
This room right now is 68 degrees.
Yeah, you're working in the backyard. You're going to be in and out, but you're not in the house the whole time. So you know the doors are going to open and close a few times. So you
Right.
set it around 68 degrees, right? But it's 85. So it would go full bore until it gets to about 71 or so, and then go to the second switch, or if you have a third, the third switch by the time it hits like 70 or something, right? And then it would slow right down till it hits 68 and turn itself off. But with a variable speed, it'll still go full bore if it's 85 degrees in the house and you want it to be 68, but it slows down incrementally, which reduces the hell out of the cost because it slows sooner. And there's short periods where it's taking more energy because it has to get back down where the other one would have jumped already. But once it gets past that threshold, it's then taking less and less energy again until it hits the next threshold. And then beyond that, it can, some of them, not all of them, more expensive furnaces can slow down to a pretty serious degree below what your normal slow one would be on your dual step or tri step, um, which allows you to have a very small airflow and a much less, and or they'll turn the air conditioner off and just put the fan on. if you set it that way, but you can still set it like that, and the thermostat will be like, well, this is the temperature. You may not be trying to air condition, but we'll run the fan at a slower speed.
Yeah,
Um,
I
so
mean, it makes
yeah,
sense, you know, but
yeah.
yeah.
But nonetheless, they are more expensive, and quite frankly, most people would just rather have the dual speed and go with that. And I think all learning thermostats work at least with dual speed. Sorry, with
Yeah.
smart thermostats.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
at
sure
least anything
that's the
built in the
case.
last 4 or 5 years, anyways. So
Here's another weird thing though about it. Is it supports Matter, but it only supports Matter over Wi-Fi. They did not put a thread border router in the thermostat. There's no thread
okay,
in it.
why does that matter?
Well,
That was a joke,
oh,
but yeah, it should matter, because why would you have Matter without thread? With
yeah.
Wi-Fi, it's useless if your Wi-Fi's out, unless it's using its own Wi-Fi thing, which means nothing else is going to talk to it. And I don't know. I'm trying to wrap my head around how that's working. I don't understand.
Well, yeah. Even the
I'm
article I
rolling back
read,
here, and my voice is going off, I'm sure.
yeah. I mean, even the article I read was like, yeah, we don't understand why they did that. I mean, even the current thermostat that I have supports Matter on thread. Why would
Yeah.
they eliminate something that the current one has? And that, for example, their hubs, other devices that they manufacture support the thread network, which, like you said, can be
Yeah.
all internal,
And there's another thing
yeah,
about that too, is what if you've got several devices in your home that you want to control this non-thread device with, and they can only do it through Wi-Fi, but they're all using battery. Uh, uh, Aren't you using less battery if you don't need to use the Wi-Fi to do? I mean, I know we're not talking about large amounts,
oh,
but
100%. The thread's going to
anything
take
that you
way less
add,
battery.
yeah, anything you add to your battery consumption when it's not necessary is bad thing. Why do you think they invented Bluetooth low energy?
Right.
I mean, that's like basically saying every new device is capable of Bluetooth low energy, but we're not going to implement it. Yeah,
Oh, but but here's another weird thing though, and we'll
yeah.
talk about this here in a minute, is that the new streaming device they come out with
The which?
is the new streaming device that
Oh,
they're coming
streaming
out
device.
with.
I think you said stringy device. I'm like,
It's a thread border router.
oh God, is it?
Yes. So why would you eliminate it from your brand new thermostat? Again, it's Google
That
sometimes. I
makes
don't
no sense.
understand.
Do you
Yeah.
realize it? I mean, how a little sense that makes? You get your new streamer, you got it going on your TV. If it's got thread, and you got your new Nest Learning thermostat with Matter, if it had thread, it would be so easy to just actually look at it on your freaking TV. You
Yeah,
wouldn't
I
even
know.
have to pick up your phone. You'd just be able to use your stinking remote or your voice with the TV.
Yeah.
It makes no. By the way, you know what? If we're going to talk about some of Google's stuff, Google's old. I don't want to insult it when it's right there, but the old home, the original air freshener design, is
Yeah.
really long in the tooth. It
Oh man.
hardly hears me properly anymore. I want the new one, which by the way is already old, so I might wait for a new refresh now. Like I can't live without the damn thing, but I hate now. Shh, it's so bad.
Well, that's why I use is the small
Yeah.
screens.
I gonna, I see one thing is I don't, because I have to use eyeglasses all the time. That's the one reason why. And also because I know the small one isn't going to give me the sound quality of the old Google Home. That's very
Granted,
bassy. It's not
granted.
great sound, but it's nice and thick, and it's good for your bedside. But I would like the larger one and actually be able to see the screen sometimes without my glasses on.
Yeah.
But in Canada, I would have to sell my arms and blood. That would afford
Well,
it.
I have one of those air freshener designs like you're talking about downstairs in the office.
Yeah.
And I want to smash it all the time because I'll say something and I'll literally be like, here, Okay, you
Wait,
know
wait, wait a
who,
minute. Wait.
and and I and I'll stand
Oh
there and I'll be
shoot!
looking at it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
I'll be looking at it, and I'm waiting, and I'm
Oh,
waiting,
oh, can this reach?
and I'm
Oh, it's
waiting.
not gonna reach. Oh, yes, it is gonna reach. All right, here
Yeah,
we go. That's her baby right there. That's what we're talking
yeah,
about. See, oh, wait
yeah,
a minute. Yeah, see right there.
yeah.
Uh,
I have to wait, and it doesn't respond, and sometimes it doesn't respond at all, and I'm just like,
yeah.
and so then I say it a little louder, and then all of a sudden my Max Hub in the kitchen picks up, and I'm like, I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to
I
this.
know, right?
It's so
That's
stupid.
insane. I
So
had to
I
turn it
yeah,
off on my phone because I couldn't stand it anymore. But here's the thing. Once the Gemini thing really kicks in, like finally kicks in, we're gonna finally be able to get, and this is not gonna happen even next year. I think we're talking about a couple of years from now still. But once it's fully baked in and fully ready, and assistant is no longer with us. By the way, this won't get updated. This is going to be deprecated,
yeah,
right?
it'll be a
This is done.
doorstop.
This, yeah, absolutely, 100% a doorstop.
Mine's
Hey
almost made
Google,
that.
uh, are you going to be replaced by Gemini?
Sorry, I didn't understand.
I asked you if you're going to be replaced by Gemini. Okay. I get. Yeah. Uh, I don't. Give me a question to ask this thing that's more legit. Now that.
Well, just ask it what the weather's going to be tomorrow. Let's ask it
Oh,
something super
that's
simple.
that's too easy. It will
I
get
mean,
that.
mine doesn't even do that. Mine
Oh,
will.
are you serious? Hey
Well, no,
Google,
it'll do it, but
what's the
it's
weather
like
like tomorrow?
forever.
Tomorrow in Scarborough, there will be isolated thunderstorms, with a high of 23 and a low of 22.
Thank you.
I'm honored to serve.
Yeah, it sounds
Hey,
ridiculously robotic. I can't believe how much I liked that originally.
and for
But
all you Americans,
compared to the way
that's
Gemini
Celsius.
sounds,
It's not Fahrenheit. It's Celsius.
well, yeah,
For all you U.S. guys out there, sorry.
yeah.
It's
Compared to
confusing. I
Gemini,
know.
yeah, compared to Gemini, this sounds incredibly robotic, like really robotic. And I didn't think so until Gemini, and I was like, wait a minute, Gemini's way more conversational, and it still sounds like garbage. I'm sorry, Gemini, but it sounds like garbage compared to ChatGPT. But Gemini will improve. They will make it better. They have to. They have to keep up because people are just going to go, let me have my chat. I can't even speak. Chat GPT. If Google ends up not being a conversationalist, right now you can't ask it anything political because it would be improper because people would think, oh well, he's taking sides or something. So you can't ask it a question about Trudeau or Trump or Biden or
Yeah.
Harris or anything,
Silly.
Yeah, I know. It is ridiculous, right? Because it's AI. What are people going to freak out because it actually told you some factual evidence? Like if you asked it, is Trump guilty of anything? This will actually probably give you a cited news story and give you the answer. Whereas if I ask Gemini on my phone, it will say, I am an AI, or what does it say? A large learning model. I am not capable of, oh, shut up. You are capable. Google just decided to put the stifle on that. But if you ask ChatGPT, you're going to get the full blown answer and a conversation about it.
Here's another dumb thing is that you can't ask Gemini to turn your lights on.
Wait a minute. What?
It does not support the
make bedroom lights 100%.
Setting 5 lights brightness to 100%.
Make bedroom lights 70%.
Got it. Setting 5 lights brightness to 70%.
Okay, well maybe the light thing is a bad choice, but there are some features that it even tells you in the app. Like it even
Yeah.
says, oh, if you want to do this, you should use Assistant. But if you want to do this, you should use Gemini because Gemini can't do this.
Yeah, but it doesn't do that anymore, I don't think. I don't think it says that anymore, does it? I think they changed the wording on it a little bit because now they have a different thing that they do that Gemini taps into differently. And they got they don't I don't remember. They don't call them routines, I don't think. I think it's something else. But they work more like the Amazon Alexa's recipes kind of.
So that's what it is. That's what it is. The routines. It's still because like
Okay,
I'm looking at it right here. Okay. It says, oh, if you want to be able to do assistant routines and translate conversation real time, use Assistant. If you want to write emails and make learning easy, use Gemini. Well, dude, I don't know, a ton of routines. Like when I go to bed, I say,
Well,
you know
yeah,
who, good
that's
night.
gonna suck for that.
And it says, oh, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I'm like, what? So I had to turn it off and go back to Assistant. I can't
Yeah,
use
but
Gemini.
now wait a minute. Does it
Dumb.
did you say it actually says it to use real-time translation?
Mhm.
Well, Assistant never did real-time translation. It passed it off to translate. It never did.
I'm just telling you.
That's garbage. So now I'm curious though.
There's no reason they shouldn't have come out with Gemini with the same functionality as the Assistant to where they could completely eliminate it and be done with it. I don't understand why.
Yeah,
they
no,
can't
I
use a
agree.
routine.
Yeah, but now I'm curious. Oh, whoops. Hi, I want to say something in German. Are you able to understand me if I were to say the next sentence after this in German? Once you respond, I will. Oh, I can't hear that. Ist es kalt?
Unfortunately, I need more context to understand what you are trying to ask.
It didn't understand me. I just said, is it
More
cold?
information about-
Yeah.
It didn't hear me, though.
Anyways.
It didn't hear me. So that's the half-baked thing that I'm saying about Gemini.
Yeah.
It's there's a lot of things, like it's a large language model. It can do more of this and that. If you give it a video, give it a piece of music, give it a picture, give it a giant body of text, it will analyze this, more of it, faster than ChatGPT. Now I'm talking about, the what is it,
Mhm.
1.5. But trying to have a conversation with it, I get it to do stuff for you. If ChatGPT could be implemented, baked into your phone, it would do way more out of the box.
Yeah. I
Guaranteed.
played around with it a little bit today when I was doing some creation, and doing video title description stuff and whatnot. And I had it write me out this whole like, hey, write me a description for a YouTube channel based on blah, 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 blah. And it actually gave a much better answer than Gemini did.
It used to be the other way around,
Yeah.
but now ChatGPT just does a better job, especially if you talk to it as opposed to typing.
Yeah. My only thing is because of my subscription model with Google, I get the advanced Gemini and I would have to pay for ChatGPT. So I can still use the free, I still have the free capability, but
But here's the thing. Their free one is way better than Gemini's free one.
Oh, 100%.
Right. If you were to talk about the paid version of both, Gemini's is better in the things that I mentioned, which is the kind of stuff you're using it for anyways. But again, having a conversation with it and getting it to do stuff that you need to do around your house, it's no go. It's not ready, not even remotely close to ready.
Yeah,
and that's because they just concentrated so much on it being a large learning model, they forgot to actually put the assistant part into it.
Yes, it's shocking, actually.
Yeah, I just hope they don't suddenly turn around and go, okay, well, we killed assistant. You're now Gemini, and then a year later, we're going to see the news on Android Police. Google is shuttering Gemini. We will be using Bixby, and Samsung's going to go like, what? We killed it already. What are you doing?
Oh man, that's a garbage. Sorry, Samsung. That's a garbage app. That does not work. Well at all.
No, it is garbage. Yeah, so people say, oh yeah, but back in the day when no one else was able to do this, you could operate virtually everything on your phone. Yeah, you could, but you couldn't get anything to work properly or timely. I tried
Yeah.
Bixby, and you would basically tell it, okay, hey Bixby or whatever you called it, right? Play this song and open this app and play this song or whatever, and it would go one of two things: either I can't find the app, or you don't have the app installed, or it would find the app, but it would take about 30 seconds to open the bloody app, and then when it
Yeah.
did, it took so long that it actually lost in memory what the other request was attached to it. It only did one request at a time, technically,
Right.
but it could still forget if it took too long. And that's the problem with Bixby. And I don't know if they ever fixed it. They probably did in the last year or two. Where it had a problem where it would actually, if it took too long to do anything, it would lose the memory. Like it had a giant memory leak. That's the strangest thing I've ever seen in an Android app.
Maybe one day I'll play around with it on my phone, but I stopped using it.
Oh, is it still there? I thought they deprecated it.
No, 100%. It's still there.
Oh, so I think I think the S25 is where they deprecate it, probably.
Maybe. My TV my refrigerator just updated, and it updated to the current version of Bixby. But again, I don't use it.
I swear to you, when I was a child, I never thought I would ever hear anybody say my refrigerator updated.
Yeah.
But I never gave that much thought. I was too busy watching Star Trek and Scooby-Doo.
I love my smart refrigerator, man. It's awesome. I love it.
I like my smartwatch.
Yeah. Well, the last thing
Your
on my
refrigerator
agenda,
is probably way smarter than my watch, though. I'm not going to lie to you. It's like
one thing I can look at I can look at the inside because it has like cameras on the backside of the door.
Oh my God.
But I can't see what's in the door, one thing. But I'm like, why would I need to look inside a refrigerator? I mean, I guess if you're at the store and you knew that like what you had on the shelf was visible and you're like, do I have 1 gallon or 2 gallons? I suppose it could be helpful, but I don't. I don't.
Do you have a picture of your fridge available?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. It's refreshing, actually. I mean,
that's crazy.
It's kind of cool, That's live in my refrigerator for everybody.
Live in the refrigerator. Jesus. All right, you know what? Here, listen. I'll show you my.
Oh wait. Here we go. I maximize it, so now you can see the bottom of the. You can see everything in there, right? So
yeah. I can see all of that. Let's see.
It doesn't make any sense to me. I've never used it except playing around with it.
I probably should have my glasses on when I'm trying to type something. Okay. No, wow, it won't let me type this. Okay.
But here's a really cool thing. You see, it does allow me to adjust the temperatures and control like my flex zone.
Yeah, no, see, it's insane.
It's very cool.
I do like that. Okay, oh wow, I can't find anything. Okay. All right. I will now show you. Yes, let me get into this. Okay, there we go. I'm going to show you a picture of my smart fridge. Right. Where's? Okay, there we go. There's my smart fridge. Oh, there's somebody in it right now. Somebody's trying to grab something. Oh.
Yeah, so at any rate, well, the last thing on my agenda is to talk about that streaming device, and it's
all right.
You know, if anybody has got here, I'm going to share this picture because this is gonna speak volumes. So this is the new streamer.
Yeah, can you pinch into that remote?
I don't think I can zoom in on that particular because of how I got it shared.
Oh, by the way, I found my original 4K Chromecast sitting in a drawer.
But the remote is similar.
Black Puck.
Yeah, the remote is similar to what they have now. Very, very similar.
But I heard there was a button or two extra. I can't remember. I can't remember what I read.
Yeah, matter of fact, I've got one in the other room. Maybe I can go run and get it. I don't know, but
Well, you got one of the old ones.
one of the dongle ones.
Well, yeah, so do I. So I know what it looks like.
Yeah,
I want to see. I want to see
compare
what
it.
this new one looks like. But you said you can't.
Okay.
You can't zoom into that.
No, not the way I have it shared.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't let me zoom in on the web page.
Oh, that's too bad.
Oh, maybe I can do it this way. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
I can do it that way. If I zoom in anymore, it's going to cut the bottom of it off.
Yeah, I'm trying to spot what's different. I don't have the other one with.
It still has Netflix and what is
my
that?
remote
YouTube?
stopped working, and I was going to order another one, and I thought, you know what? Why bother? It's bugging me, but again, it's because it doesn't have a USB audio out, and my TV's all being watched with the headphone. You know,
Right. But if
And so it
everybody
bugs me.
looks on that
And-
tray in the back, you can see like the original and all the new ones, the little
yeah. The
cigarette lighter looking
beautiful
one.
hockey puck design, and even the audio one that just looks like a record player or a record.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
Yeah.
And I see. Are those Nest learning thermostats in the background? Off to the
Over to the
top
right,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
Yep, those are the third gen. Yep. So yeah, it looks great. I really like it. It's actually now supports HDMI 2.1A, which is
It's
great
good.
because that's
Yeah.
full
It's
bandwidth. You can do 8K
Yeah.
if you need to, or if it supports it, I guess. It finally supports gigabit Ethernet, which for anybody watching all those other devices, they did sell an adapter, but it was a 10100 adapter, which is
Yeah.
absolutely ridiculous.
And of course, I would put a better one in. I didn't use that stupid thing.
Yeah.
And did it make a difference? Yeah, and I'll tell you why. Because if you had any issue, nothing had to be on your end. It could be anywhere along the pipe. You have an issue with bandwidth. If you have more available, then you still have more when it slows down most of the time.
Right.
I know that sounds weird, but it's true. If I've only got 100 megabits per second maximum, I'm probably lucky to get 70 at any point in time. I only need 25 to get 4K through that dongle. But it slows down and I'm getting 5. I'm not going to get even 1080p at this point.
Yeah.
But if I've got gigabit internet, gigabit Ethernet, and I only need 25, when it slows down, I'm still getting 120 or 45. I'm still way above the threshold it needs.
Yeah. And it's got the Bluetooth 5.1 and it supports Wi-Fi 5. So everything's more advanced. It's got more memory. It's got a
Why wouldn't
processor
it be
that's supposedly
Bluetooth low
like
energy though?
25%.
That's weird, wouldn't you?
It might be. I didn't look at the specs. I just saw that it was 5.1, which
Wait,
5.1 you can have low energy at 5.1.
I thought you had to have 5.2. Am I wrong?
I thought it could be.
No, I'm not sure.
5.1.
I may be wrong. I may be wrong. Anyone looking it up right now? I'll go with what you find. But in the meantime, while you're looking that up, I'll just bring something else up and just interrupt me when you find it.
So yeah, it does have you can do low energy at 5.1.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, but it's a nice device and all the advances. I would seriously consider buying one of these and getting rid of even the NVIDIA Shield that I have, because sometimes the NVIDIA Shield makes me want to smash it as well. Because the
only thing I have a
glitchy.
problem with, like I said, is the lack of the USB audio out. So I would still need to figure out how would I get audio into this without it being Bluetooth, because when you do Bluetooth through there, well, mind you, if they have the proper Bluetooth going to this, then maybe that delay goes away, because that's the only reason why I don't watch the other one ever, because and the sound's not rich enough. It would probably be better on that. But here's the thing. I want to know why. And if people say, oh, well, there's all kinds of reasons because Bluetooth doesn't work that way. If you have Bluetooth 5.2 or 5.3, it might need, you can get 360 audio, as far as I know, right? and nice rich bass and the whole bit.
I don't know.
I
I'd have
believe
to look.
so. I believe so.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course you can, because that's why Pixel Buds work that way,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously you can. So why give us crappy Bluetooth if you're not going to give us the means to listen on our headphones,
Yeah.
wired, or I mean through USB audio out, then just give me, why am I getting
Yeah.
McAfee? I didn't type that. I went to a website to look at an article so I could bring it up, and I
Yeah.
get
It might
spammed by
support the
McAfee.
USB audio. I have no idea. It doesn't say in the specifications in the article I
There's
read.
no way.
So
NVIDIA Shield's still the only one that does that. Okay, let me get to this real quick here, because I think we are getting close. Yeah, we're getting close. Exclusive Pixel Line buyers get Google One 2 terabyte. Oh my God, there it is again with the McAfee thing. I didn't even get to finish. Fitbit Premium, YouTube Premium included. So, oh wow, that's crazy.
that's
So
going to give you the Gemini Advanced.
yeah, I believe they're talking about probably the for 2 years, right? Does it say how long? It doesn't, or maybe it does, and I'm just skimming it really quick.
I
But
remember reading about it, but
here's
I
the
can't
thing.
remember
This
the
is what
time
I
frame.
want to know. Are they going to shaft existing customers? Because apparently they're not going to be giving away any Pixel Buds or watches this year. They're going to give you this free subscription model instead. So does that mean that existing payers, like most companies seem to do, are going to get the shaft, and we're not going to get nothing? New buyers are the only ones that are going to get anything. Yeah, if that's the case, they're going to be really sorry, because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, well, if you're not going to give me anything at all, and you're giving this guy everything for free, I'm not going to buy. But you'd be surprised how many people do that. Thousands of people will say, screw you.
Yeah, but I don't know why they would. I mean,
Because people
I'm
don't.
taking it as that if you buy a 9, you get this. Doesn't
Well,
they're
absolutely.
pre-existing kind
I
of thing,
completely
so.
agree with you. I'm getting it whether I get something free with it or not, but I'm telling you, because if you look on the forums and Facebook and stuff, that's the first thing you're going to see. As soon as they find out the information, that's the first thing they're going to say was, well, I've bought every Pixel the last 7 years. How come I don't get anything? Right? Only for new. If they do that only for new, they are making a huge mistake. They're very bad at marketing, as we already know. But if you're going to alienate your existing loyal fan base, customers who have spent thousands and thousands of dollars, in some cases like me, year after year, and you until last year, it's ridiculous. They need to say, okay, you know what, give me the cheap Pixel Buds. I don't care. For me, it doesn't matter. But all you got to do is say, yeah, we're going to let you, if you're an existing customer, we'll give you a year for free. Or if you're an
Yeah.
existing customer, we'll give you 6 months for free, or even 3 months for free. Give the newer guys a whole year. I don't care. But you have to offer something. If you're going to offer something for some, you got to offer it for everybody, or give an alternative to those that don't qualify for that.
Well, I guess we will find out on the 13th what they decide to do.
Hopefully, as long as I'm not digging somewhere under somebody's porch, trying to waterproof their home. And if I am, then I'll have to find out about it later. Please don't text me all the information. I would like to be surprised at something. I'm not going to be surprised. Text me the information. I changed my mind. All right. What time is it? Yeah, we're pretty much coming up on time now.
Yeah.
So we had a nice little conversation. It's all tech related. We're gonna do a lot more talking about some Canada versus the United States type stuff, or Canada and United States type stuff, coming up in the next few episodes, whatever. Just to get a little bit more of that thing that we got in the theme. It's United We Stand, Divided We Podcast. So that's what we want to talk about.
Yes. Yeah,
but
we are going to do
technology-wise, there is still going to be some very heavy Google talk next week.
Oh, it's always, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, just so you guys know, I am heading on vacation next week. we're going to try to get a podcast done prior to me leaving. But if not, we might have a week that we won't be having a podcast. I will be publishing some shorts that'll be coming out, but
Yeah.
we'll just have to see if we have enough
Also,
time.
if that does happen, it's more likely that I will put out technically what's called a long form, not short form video, but it'll be shorter. It's not going to be an
Yeah.
hour, and it'll be less of a podcast and more of a talking heads type video, where will still be stuff that we talk about, and it'll probably be based a lot on stuff that Robert and I have already talked about. Things that we want to talk about. He might mention something that he wants talked about, stuff I want to talk about, and we'll just to keep some content there, and hopefully. Well, no, if he's on vacation, this is not the vacation where he's going to send pictures. I was going to say maybe he'll send some pictures I can share, but I believe
I
this
might
I
text
think
those pictures
well,
here
this
and
is the one where you're going with your wife. You don't want to be bothered by anybody podcasting, so that's understandable. We'll bother Robert when he goes to Germany because I'm not at all jealous about that trip.
Yes.
With that said, I am Lionel, and I am in Toronto, Canada.
And I am Robert, just outside Nashville, Tennessee. And we'll see you on the next one.
Have a good one.